In the heart of Africa, the majestic and fiery Virunga Mountains are a chain of volcanoes in East Africa along the northern border of Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Uganda. The mountain range consists of 8 volcanoes, with 2 of them still active today. It is also one of the most biologically diverse regions on the planet, with over 2,000 different plants, 300 species of birds, many of them endemic to the region, and 86 species of mammals, such as forest elephants, okapis, and even lions. But the most famous and most endangered is the shy and gentle mountain gorilla. Until the release of the movie Gorillas in the Mist, about the life of biologist Dian Fossey, few people had even heard of them, let alone would consider traveling halfway across the globe, trekking for hours through the cloud forest, just to get a glimpse of these sentient beings.
This group we are going to see has 8 members. So the uniqueness of this group we are going to see today is that it is the only group that I have ever seen having 3 silverbacks living together in harmony. 3 silverbacks, 2 adult females, 2 infants, and then 1 juvenile.
Watching a mountain gorilla in its natural environment easily lets us see why they are our closest relatives. They share over 97% of our DNA. The youngsters play just like human children. They like to tumble, run, climb, and tease their siblings. They share our same emotions. They laugh when tickled and cry when hurt or when in pain, which is why it's easy to feel connected to them. Gorillas, like with all wild animals, play an important role in their environment. Without these large-scale grazers eating lots of vegetation, the natural balance in the food chain would be disrupted. They are adapted to high altitude because they have thicker fur compared to other primates and more of it. This helps them survive in sub-zero temperatures in elevations of up to 4,000 meters. Mountain gorillas live in groups of up to 30 individuals, and some of these groups last for decades. The group is led by a dominant silverback male and includes other males, females, and possibly subadults and babies. In general, their lives are peaceful, and the alpha male is not often challenged once he has been accepted as the leader. Mostly, the other silverbacks or blackbacks will leave the group to find their own females and start a new group. Young females related to the alpha will also leave a group to find another one, or a lone male to start their own family.
Of course, the animals here, they are transboundary, totally transboundary. And in case an animal moves away from here, goes to the other side of Congo, we just call it Congolese. And then when they go the other side, call it Rwandese. And then once they all come here, we say, please, you're highly welcome to Uganda. And from now and onwards, you're Ugandans.
Mountain gorillas have muscular arms, a massive chest, and broad hands and feet. Their hands and feet resemble humans more than those of chimpanzees or orangutans, perhaps because they spend more time on the forest floor with their feet and long arms suited for knuckle walking. Their thick, coarse hairs are perfect for insulating them against the cold and rainy environment they live in. Each mountain gorilla has a unique nose print, which is how rangers and biologists who study them are able to identify them individually. Their average lifespan is 35 to 40 years. Mountain gorillas move along the forest floor based on the foods that are available. It's the alpha silverback who determines where they will move on to next, and the group follows his lead. Depending on the fruits that are in season, they may go higher up the mountain or move lower.
This is a wild pumpkin. It's a wild pumpkin, however, they are liked by gorillas, especially the baby gorillas. They like using them like playing, like football, like the ball, rolling them down.
Resting throughout the day is important for digestion and reinforcing the social bond of the group. It's also a time of mutual grooming because it helps keep their hair clean and free of parasites. And when the day is done, the males will make a sleeping nest made of leaves while the females will sleep with their young. The silverback mountain gorilla is truly a sight to behold. He's a magnificent creature, tall, dark, and handsome, with a superb physique weighing as much as 200 kilograms when fully grown. The silverback gets his name for the back hair that starts turning silver once he reaches full maturity, around 12 years of age. His role is one of protector and leader. He's seldom challenged within his own group, and when he is, it's rare that the conflict ends with any injuries. He may beat his chest to send a warning to other males to stay away from the females, but he may also do it as an act of victory when he perceives a threat against a group. In the case of true danger, he will fight to the death to protect his group. A silverback has the strength of 10 football players and can appear very intimidating, and yet he is extremely gentle and patient with the females and the rowdy youngsters in his midst. When a male gorilla reaches adulthood, he's called a blackback. At one point, he may decide to lead the group to form his own, involving at least one female, or decide to challenge the dominant male, or take on a subservient role in the existing group. Though gorillas do not speak like humans do, researchers have identified 25 distinct vocalization sounds, such as growls, whines, whimpers, barks, grunts, and even play chuckles. Each vocalization has an important emotional, social, or environmental meaning to the group. The deep rumbling that is frequently heard during feeding or rest periods suggests contentment and is often mimicked by rangers to let them know of their incoming presence and that they come in peace. Female mountain gorillas weigh about half as much as a full-grown male, and yet they play a critical role in the gorilla community. When they're about 10 years of age, it's the female that determines when she's ready to mate. The potential father must have physical symmetry and a beautiful glossy coat, which indicates good health. Like humans, there is no specific time of the year or season when they will mate or give birth. When she's certain that she's found her perfect mate, she'll approach and initiate the process by pursing her lips while establishing prolonged eye contact, grooming and touching him, perhaps not the most subtle of hints. After a successful mating process, females are in gestation for around 8.5 months. They only give birth to about one baby at a time, as twins are rare. This is despite the fact that baby gorilla mortality rate is fairly high, with some researchers estimating it around 38%, highlighting the importance that each baby survive to adulthood. Just like humans, baby mountain gorillas are completely dependent on their mother's milk for the first 6 months, and they will suckle every hour or so.
Baby is born. It's the rangers and the guides who actually name the babies, and they base it on the personality of the gorilla. This one here is actually called Friend, because as an infant, she was very friendly. And I guess she used to like to come up to people, and she was very curious. So they named her Friend.
After half a year, they start eating some of the plants in the forest, having watched their mom and the rest of the family to learn what's edible and what's not. At 3, they're fully weaned and become more independent. And yet, just like humans, when they get hurt or are teased by a sibling, they'll go running into their mother's arms for comfort and safety. Young mountain gorillas always seem to want to play. They tussle and wrestle with one another, even appearing to play tag with the other youngsters. A favorite pastime is to climb trees, dangling by hands and limbs high above the rest of their family. This form of play allows them to learn the social rules and build physical skills and strength. Youngsters are accepted by all the members, and the entire group will risk their lives to save the youngest amongst them. Mountain gorillas are mainly herbivores, and they have quite a healthy appetite, with the males eating as much as 30 kilos a day, while the female eats about a third less. Their diet consists of a complex mix of vegetation. Depending on the season, they will eat from as many as 142 different plants. They will snack on fruits and even small invertebrates such as termites and caterpillars. Because of the large number of plants they consume and the morning dew upon them, gorillas are always adequately hydrated and rarely having to drink water. As opposed to lowland gorillas, mountain gorillas cannot survive in zoos, and it's believed that it's due to the immense variety and very specific vegetation needs they have. And there may be another reason. Mountain gorillas don't respond well to stress. Veterinarians caring for these animals have noted that even when they are removed from their group for even a few days, they become so traumatized that they will often not survive the intervention. Therefore, it's paramount that veterinary care be done in the field with as little interaction as possible. A critical component to the survival of mountain gorillas is the often overshadowed people behind the scenes who have helped keep this species alive. The organization called Gorilla Doctors has been instrumental in the veterinary care of this species since 1986, even conducting research on emerging pandemic threats such as COVID-19 or Ebola. Another equally important group of people who have dedicated themselves to the protection of this species are the teams of rangers and trackers who protect mountain gorillas from illegal human activities such as poaching and snare use, which can cause irreparable damage to not just the mountain gorilla population, but to wildlife as a whole.
These are the guys that have really made our day. And they are the same people that were really trying to direct us the best and safest area where to pass. They do come very early in the morning and then leave in the evening.
Trackers are often the first people to notice if an animal is hurt or ill and can notify veterinary teams quickly, providing them with the care they need in the field.
To make one of these visits happen, it takes a whole group. It takes the guides, it takes the rangers, it takes the porters, and it's a whole slew of people, obviously in the national park. Their jobs are to ensure that we are safe and that we get an opportunity to see the gorillas, but to make sure that the gorillas are safe. So you have the tourists who come, and we're always kind of excited and all that, and they make sure that we don't get too excited and get too close to the gorillas. Each gorilla is important to keep safe and to keep the generations going.
They have to know each gorilla because the work they do is not only tracking gorillas or staying up there. They have to do kind of monitoring, reporting anything which can happen for any gorilla. For example, each gorilla has got a name. And to know each gorilla, you have to do to stay with them for a certain time so they can master them. Then, if we're an example, a gorilla called the Mararo is sick, you have to know that Mararo is sick. Then you report to the headquarters. Then the veterinarians who come to treat Mararo, before coming to treat them, they have to go in the database to see the problems that Mararo like to have, so that they can come with medicine. They have to prepare medicine. They come with medicine because they treat them up there in the mountains.
And what is the training that is required to be a tracker?
And the training, just when you are recruited as a tracker, you do kind of, have to know what you call animals tracking.
Okay.
Yes, tourism and conservation. Those are trainings that they have to know and how to do monitoring. Then you don't become a full responsible. It takes like 2 years to be able to do that by.
In 1997, there were less than 550 mountain gorillas left in the world. This was only a few years after the Rwandan Civil War had broken out, resulting in one of the worst human genocides recorded, with as many as 800,000 Tutsis killed in less than 4 months. At the time, mountain gorillas were being killed and captured by poachers at extremely high rates. Body parts were being sold to collectors. Entire gorilla families were being killed just to capture their babies, who would then be sold into the illegal pet trade or to private zoos. Yet none of them survived. Ultimately, every mountain gorilla that was removed from their home died, either of malnutrition, stress, or from a broken heart. Even after the war ended, their survival was challenged. Human encroachment into the national park region had run amok. Displaced Rwandans have settled at the foot of the Virunga Mountains, attracted by the fertile lands and rich biodiversity, causing forest degradation. The pristine forests have been destroyed through logging and agriculture, industries that are likely to grow as they are a primary source of income for many Rwandans. As humans continue to encroach upon the mountain gorilla's habitat, they bring with them the threat of disease. Tuberculosis, pneumonia, Ebola, and presumably COVID-19 are all diseases these animals are susceptible to. What kind of diseases can the mountain gorillas get?
Yeah, the kinds of diseases that mountain gorillas do get from us. We have these normal diseases like cough, flu, tuberculosis, and very many others. And of course, in addition to what he talked about, we do also have some clients who do always come with some small cameras having something like should I say a stick, a handle,
yeah.
that handle. So that handle also, these gorillas tend to think in their heads that is a dart gun. And of course, whenever they bring those cameras with those handles,
selfie sticks,
these gorillas tend to think that those are dart guns. The doctors have come to dart them. And of course, at the end of it all, they end up running away.
So it's not because they're afraid the guns for people shooting or poaching. It's because of the doctors.
The doctors.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So
how often do the doctors actually come out and do veterinary checks on them?
at least they come. They do always at times come every monthly. They do come to check, have a close check on the gorillas. They see how are they. Are they in the best condition? Of course, if they find that they are in the best condition, then they see them, take photos, and then go back. Then in case of any other thing, the trackers, these people who do come in advance, the trackers always keep monitoring in case of anything. In case a gorilla happens to come out of the tree and falls down, then in case it gets an injury, it's them to inform us, then we inform their management, and then later the management will have to direct the doctor, the gorilla doctor, to also come and get in touch.
The Gorilla Doctors is a global organization or international organization. Does Uganda have its own veterinary specialists?
Yes, Uganda also has its own special doctors. We have those of Dr. Fred. They are all always around.
And they work together as a team?
They do work together as a team with the ones in other organizations.
Not only can they contract these illnesses, but they are particularly vulnerable. And in 2002, during an Ebola outbreak in the Congo region, over 100 Grauer gorillas died from the virus. Today, the status of the mountain gorilla went from critically endangered to endangered, as their numbers have increased to just over 1,000. However, their status remains precarious. Civil war on the Congo side of the Virunga mountain range may affect the guerrilla groups that cross national boundaries. As the world entered the 2020 lockdown from the COVID pandemic, poachers took advantage of this difficult time by increasing poaching activity and wire snare use. As a result, one particularly loved silverback named Rafiki was killed by poachers as he came upon them setting snares in his forest. But their greatest threat is still habitat destruction from human encroachment and disease that could put the entire mountain gorilla population at risk. Despite these horrors, it's also because of humans that the species is now doing better. Tourism is bringing in much-needed funding, with the Rwanda government charging $1,500 for one permit. It helps boost the local economy, and the government has committed to giving a percentage of the tourism dollars back to the community. Mountain gorillas are oblivious to the threats they face. They currently live a peaceful life where the young play with abandon and their families have enough food to fill their big bellies. But in the future, they may be forced to confront more challenges to their survival. While humans are a threat to the mountain gorilla's survival, they may also be the saving grace that these animals need. Organizations like Safe Worldwide are promoting educational and community programs that provide careers and financial independence for locals. Safe Worldwide's Wilderness Conservation Camp also brings awareness on the value of wildlife and the threats that poaching and the bushmeat trade bring. We support reforestation programs in communities that abut the national park.
You can also planting trees.
Safe Worldwide is dedicated to saving the mountain gorillas. We are participating with an organization called Sakola in Rwanda, and it is a community-based organization where we help the people, and it helps wildlife like mountain gorillas as well. So anything you can do to help support the mountain gorillas, which would be come and visit them in Rwanda or Uganda, come and help local organizations like Sakola.
Ultimately, our goal is to spread a message that highlights that the gorillas bring economic stability and growth to the region, while also being part of an intricate and delicate ecosystem themselves, one that needs humans to protect it.
So a lot of people often ask, should we be disturbing these animals? But the truth is that without tourism, there's a good chance that these animals would be extinct today. The rangers and the guides make sure that we meet all the restrictions necessary. There is absolutely no contact with the gorillas, and we need to keep a certain distance. Remember that we share 97% of our DNA with these guys. They can catch diseases like tuberculosis, flu, pneumonia, and they can catch it from humans. So it's important that when people do come here for tourism, they come and they are healthy and they don't hide it either just because they want to come see them. So come visit the gorillas, show them respect, and see what this is all about. And Safe Worldwide supports the mountain gorillas and keeping them safe.
There is hope that the mountain gorillas will continue to rise in numbers and be part of the future world. But it can only be achieved through sustainability and conservation efforts. Efforts that will need to bring our planet away from the brink of irreversible climate change damage, which will affect their future. For now, only time will tell what the future will bring for the endangered mountain gorilla.